Sweet. Thanks, Misty. So if you can sit up, we're just going to start with working on just this review of what your core is. So I'm going to come to kneeling just so that you can see. When we define core in this class, we're going from top of the shoulders, like a cylinder all the way down. So front, side, back. And then we're including the hip girdle. We're including the pelvis and all these big muscles, deep muscles, little muscles around the hips, okay? So when we say, or I say core, or I say like rectangular core, you can see this is a rectangular shape. What I want to add is that it's also like a cylinder. So it's front, it's side, and it's back, okay? So I think sometimes it's really easy to just live in this front piece, but we want to really include the importance of the sides and the back. The back can be challenging, right? Because we can't see it, okay? So finding just a comfortable sitting shape for a moment. We're going to work on getting your shoulder blades in your awareness. We're doing this sitting because we're going to do this on your back. And then from the muscle memory of what we're doing sitting, you can take that onto your back, okay? So you can pick an arm, whichever arm you want to do first. You're going to bring your arm forward, feeling a little more connection of how your arm connects into your shoulder, okay? So here's your shoulder. It's a ball and socket joint. Your arm bone can drop back. Now, in my body, when the arm bone draws back, that helps me feel this shoulder blade. And then the shoulder blade connection through around the side body into these upper abdominals, okay? So you could reach way forward. You can see how my shoulder blade has slid forward. And then as my arm bone draws back, my shoulder blade retracts in towards my spine a little bit. Now my spine is moving with it, okay? What I want to try and do, what I'm going to try and encourage you to do is keep your spine nice and solid, supported. Spine resists the movement as you just move the arm and the shoulder. Just doing that a couple of times. You can take it out wide like a T. You can swing it forward and bring it back. So as you move your shoulder blade and your arm, having your spine resist the movement. So resisting this kind of thing, right? Okay, so a couple more with this arm. You can be creative, move the arm in different directions, and then slow it down and go over to your opposite arm. So sitting back, bringing the arm back, defining that rectangular cylinder core, sliding it forward. Can you feel a little more connection to the shoulder blade? This can be challenging to feel, and to be honest, it took me years to feel this. I had to do a lot of upper back strength work to get a grip on my shoulder blade movement. People would tell me my shoulder blades were moving, and I was a little unsure. I didn't really feel much. So if you're not feeling much and you're a little confused, I just want you to know that's okay. You can swing the arm across your body and go wide. So your spine is resisting this, okay? So we'll do a couple more arm movements. Okay, then we're gonna bring both arms up. We're gonna go wide like a T. And we're gonna cross your arms in front. Right now, it doesn't matter what arm's on top. Your elbows are gonna come pretty close together, and your top arm's gonna push down, and your bottom arm's gonna pull up. So there's resistance. Your bottom arm really wants to push down, and your top arm wants to pull up. And you can feel that, and you're nice and long, connected, strong through your spine. Check in with your face and your jaw, the roof of your mouth, your throat. If you want a little more challenge, you could bend and start to bring your arms, for those of you who do a lot of yoga, towards those eagle arms. You could bring your knuckles towards each other. You might be wrapping around, trying to grab your palms. Remember the rib abdominal connection that we talk about every week. Ribs draw down and in. You might lift your elbows up a little bit. Your spine is still resisting this movement. So it's not this. Your spine is resisting. It's trying to stay more in that neutral shape. And then you can let go. If that is way too much for your shoulders, you can come right here like this, okay? If this is too much, you can come into more parallel arms, like forearms, okay? So you could work here. You can practice this a few times sitting. You could practice this a few times sitting, okay? So let's just do this movement. You can take your opposite arm over, push, pull. Maybe the eagle piece works in your body fairly well. Maybe that's too much. Recognize if that's too much, it's self-care. It's a good thing to back off and find this shape. It's a good thing to notice if that's too much and come to this shape. So finding this place for you, you're the only one that can feel it, okay? So really honoring what your shoulders, your pec muscles, the strength through the upper back, this upper core area allows to happen here. Then we're going to rest all that down, just do some shoulder rolls, shake it out, okay? We did all of this sitting here because we're going to do the same thing on our backs, okay? So now we'll come onto our backs. So when you come onto your back, you can bend your knees and find that constructive rest pose here. You can bring your arms down and then just give yourself a moment to drop back into your body. Feel, notice, let go. Just noticing your present time experience for 5 patient breaths. Try and practice patience with your breathing. Ask yourself how you're doing here. How do you feel? It's important that we honor how we're feeling physically, how we're feeling energetically. Now with your next exhale, let's bring your arms up towards the ceiling and then bring your knees up over your hips. And if it's helpful to you, you can bring your hands to the back of your legs for a little bit. We're just going to work the hamstrings, bending and straightening the legs. You can point and flex in your ankle heels if you want. Trying to keep that spine in neutral. So as you bend and straighten the legs, remember we want to keep that soft lumbar curve. We want to try and keep that backpack thoracic spine nice and long, head heavy. If you want a little more challenge, your arms can still be up towards the ceiling. Now, when your legs are a little more straight than bent, we're going to pause. And then we're going to take all the limbs out wide. So your arms will mirror your legs. And then we're going to bring all the limbs in and cross them over. We're going to do this a few more times, crossing opposite arm, opposite leg. Trying to keep that core cylinder rectangle area really stable. Inhale out. Move from your exhale. So you're going to feel your exhale, and that's your cue to move. We'll do a few more with your breathing. Okay, next time your right leg is in front of your left leg, pause. So you're crisscrossed. Bend your knees and then try and get your knees over your hips. So knees over hips, nice and strong through your low back in neutral, and then bend at your elbows. So your arms are crossed. Bring your elbows back a little more in line with your shoulder. Pause and hold the shape and take 3 exhales. With your 3rd exhale, straighten things back up towards the ceiling, go wide. Cross the left leg over the right. Knees over hips, elbows back over shoulders, bend things and hold. 3 breaths. Inhale, release, take everything out nice and wide, arms mirror legs. Hold wide for 3 breaths, just letting your arms yoke, your legs yoke, anchor into the back of the hips, arms into the back of the shoulders. And then we'll bring everything up towards the ceiling. Right leg is going to cross over the left leg and we're going to bend the knees. Hands are going to come behind your head, elbows up towards the ceiling. So knees more over hips, less into your chest. So not this so much, as you see where my knee is in relationship to the hip. So knee a little more over hip, going to work a little more of this transverse cummerbund area. Okay, neutral low back. So I'm going to try and encourage you to do the same thing. Keep your knees right where they are. Take a full inhale. Exhale, ribs and abdominals knit, and then we lift the head and shoulders and come up. Push your front leg into the back leg and pull your back leg into your front leg, creating resistance. Inhale, lower down. 2 more. Keep that going through your legs. Legs pushing, pulling together. Neutral spine. Well, how do you know you're neutral? You still have your little lumbar curve. Even when you roll up, lower down. Last one. Legs push and pull, lumbar curve. And then release. Legs come up. Legs go wide. Left leg over right leg. Bend your knees. Refine neutral. Knees over hips. Elbows up towards the ceiling. Taking an inhale. Exhale, feel your ribs knit. So that feeling of the ribs drawing together and down to the floor helps lift the shoulders. Knee over hip. Soft lumbar curve, going slow enough that you can understand and feel that in your body. 2 more. Exhale, how your ribs knit together and press down, helps lift the shoulders. Last one on your own. Legs keep pushing and pulling. And then we'll release. Head down, legs up, take them wide. Bend your knees. Right leg comes down, left leg comes down, arms come down by your side. Rest for about 5 breaths. Just check in with yourself. What can rest here? Whatever can rest, let it have a moment to really let go. Patient exhales. And then with your next exhale, bring the knees back up over your hips and hold on to the back of the leg. So option to roll up. So you can exhale, get that rib abdominal connection that we've been working on every Tuesday. You might slowly roll up. You might roll all the way over and just come up through the side body. All right, let's come on up to standing. So there's a lot of different ways to come on up. Find your way up to standing. Take your feet wide. Okay. So starting in a sumo squat, just to get your ankles and your knees and your hips a little more warmed up. So we're going to go down and up. You can go as low as you want. Maybe you just go a couple inches. Meet your knees, meet your ankles where they are. Knees energetically pressing out over the toes. Spine, core, rectangle, cylinder in your awareness. 2 more. Then we're going to work a little more in your hip area, okay? So you're going to just take a little bend in your knee, stabilizing through this left hip. So that means this left hip is going to be nice and strong as you push this left side down. So you can start to feel this left side get heavier and heavier, more grounded. It's going to start to lift your right ankle and maybe then lift your right leg. With stability, try not to fall back into the squat. Push, down creates up, okay? You can go side to side with wide legs, down creating up. An awareness of this hip area in relationship to your cummerbund core, in relationship to your upper back. You can start to let your feet get a little more narrow. So you could step your feet more underneath your hips. You can step wide. You can mix and match. You can go fast or slow. Just try not to drop into it. Really concentrated, controlled movements. 2 more on the right, 2 more on the left. And then we'll stop and we'll come back. Stand, rest, breathe. What do you notice? What do you feel? 5 breaths. One more full exhale, let all the air out. Great, let's do half a sun salutation. Exhale, arms flow out to come up. Bend your knees. What does it mean to resist gravity? You're going to go slow. Try to keep the spine and the back body as you fold over. So spine and the back body, resisting the fold forward, nice and long and strong. Fold over, bend your knees as much as you need. Inhale, lift your chest, look out a little bit. Exhale, fold, and then step back. Give yourself a few moments to build your downward facing dog. So some of us might be on the floor with our down dog. Some of us might move to a wall or a table. Take your time to build the foundation. Bend in your knees. Push your hip creases. Push your sit bones back. Try and let your head hang. Much like tabletop, resisting gravity, feeling and noticing the length of your spine, more so in your back body. We'll take 3 breaths here. When you feel your next exhale, start to walk your hands and feet together. Press down, slowly come all the way on up, full body stretch. Arms come down, 3 breaths, standing mountain meditation. Short, meaningful meditation break. Your next exhale, arms are going to come out. Now remember, we practiced this at the very start. We're going to swing the arms. You can take your arms here. Bring your arms here. You can bring your arms here. You can bring your arms here or here. Ribs knitting down and in. Resisting, pushing forward. 3 breaths right here. Wherever the arms are, 2 more breaths. Let the arms come back. Second side, swing the arms out with an exhale. Inhale across the opposite arm. Build based on core connection. What do we mean by based on core connection? If we're here to bring your palms together, then we're compressing the upper back, the mid back. That's not so much what we would consider win-win alignment. Ribs knit down and in. Keep really nice and strong connected. We're opening up through the back, getting that stretch as we strengthen. 2 more breaths. And release the arms and step your feet wide. All right, so stabilizing through that left side, we're going to pick up that right leg. Now we're going to turn it into a curtsy squat. You're going to swing this right leg behind you and step back and curtsy it down. Right leg comes out. Control, step, go back. Okay, big piece of this is that your hip creases right here push back. So as you take your leg behind you, these hip creases still push back. You want to add the arms, adding arms. Just be creative. You can take nice big swings of the arms. You can be creative and pause, right? Maybe you take eagle arms in between. Everyone's working in a different place. Meet yourself right where you are. Let's try one more on each side. Now we'll step back, finish this round, meet back in a standing mountain. Rest, connect. It's okay if you're breathing hard, if you're breathing fast, your heart rate's going quick. It's all benefits of the practice. 5 breaths. Just observe and feel the faster pace of breath. Staying anchored, feeling strength with a quick heartbeat, a faster breath. Great, let's do half a sun salutation. Exhale, arms sweep out to come up. Inhale, long spine, fold forward, resist gravity. Don't just fall forward. Exhale, chest lifts. Inhale, fold, build your downward facing dog and take 5 breaths. So if down dog is a little too much, you can always come down in tabletop. If it works on your knees, you can always press back in child pose. Soften inward, which really just means try to let go of some tension through the skin. Feeling a little more that connection to what we consider a deep breath, breathing from the inside out. With your next exhale, if you're in child's pose, come to table. And then we'll all figure out how to walk our hands and feet together. And give yourself a couple of breaths, come back up. We all have our own way to come back to standing. And meet in standing meditation for a few moments. All right, walking a little bit out in front of your mat. We're going to take your left leg and swing it back and build a high lunge. So if you need to grab something to balance, grab something to balance. Coming back to the basics, we talk about ears in line with shoulders, shoulders in line with hips. So before we go any further, connecting again to your upper back shoulder blades. We Feel a little more the shoulder blade on your back. You feel your cummerbund muscles, feeling your hip muscles. Okay, so a little bit like that curtsy squat, as you bend and go down, can you feel the stability in the pelvis through this cummerbund into your upper back? You need to work and connect all of those parts as we go up and down. Try for 5. If you get tired at 2, then rest. Next time you have a little bend in both knees, we're going to pause. I'm going to take your arms out wide. This time your left arm is going to come on top of the right. Find your eagle arms. Whatever that variation is for your body. Ribs and abdominals connect, upper back connects, hips connect. Maybe you lift your elbow forearms up a little bit. Take 3 breaths. Can you soften through your eyes and your jaw? Soften through the tops of the shoulders. Excellent. Push into the right foot so much that your right leg starts to straighten. Undo your arms, lift them up to the ceiling, and then step both feet together. Bring your arms down and notice your experience. Pause right here. Let everything that can rest, rest. 3 breaths. When you're ready, stabilizing through the left side. As I pick up my right heel, I can feel my upper back, my transverse cummerbund, my hips turn on. Maybe you feel something similar as you step your right leg back and build your lunge. Ears, shoulders, hips, back to basics. Rib abdominal connection. Both knees bending. Maybe 3 times, maybe 5 times. Meet yourself where you are. Okay, after 3 or 5, pause. Building your arms into those eagle arms. This time the right arm comes on top. Shoulder stretch, elbows can lift. Maybe your arms are more parallel or coming together like a pec press. 3 breaths, notice your experience. Soften where you can soften. When you exhale, can you feel your ribs knit together? Get a shoelace, your ribs tying together. Exhale, let the arms go. Lift them up, lift up through the back ribs. And step both feet together. Take a few moments, feel, notice, breathe. No need to rush through our experience, pausing to savor, being curious. 3 exhales. Great, let's do a sun salutation. Exhale, arms float out to come up. Bend the knees, resist gravity. So as you fold forward, just don't fall. Try to keep that spine and the back body resist as you go. Exhale, chest lift. Inhale, maybe you bend your knees and fold a little deeper. Walking your hands and feet out, building downward facing dog. From this down dog, bend your knees, take your hip creases, take your sit bones back. Can you feel 1 more millimeter of length in your low back? And then come to tabletop. Look down at your hands when you build your table and get really strong through the fingers. What do we mean by that? Well, if you have to claw the floor a little bit to feel that, go for it. It's okay, claw the floor a little bit. Okay, building your table. I often make the joke like, that you're at your friend's house or your house and you've run out of furniture and you have to eat on your back. You're not going to eat off a back that looks like this. It's just not doable. But if we can resist that piece of gravity, pulling the spine to the floor, we come more up here, it's pretty solid, pretty strong. Shoulder blades on your back, cummerbund area, nice and strong. Pelvis, nice and strong. All right. So from here, just like we've done every week, you can walk your hands back, out, walk on your knuckles, maybe walk on your fingertips, be creative. Maybe spin your arms around, getting some extension. And then when you've taken maybe 3 more breaths here, come back and build your table. We're going to add some strength challenge. So notice where your shoulders are in relationship to your wrists, okay? So right now, my shoulders are behind my wrists. I'm still very strong and connected through my spine. My spine is resisting gravity. I'm still feeling this in my upper back. I have that strength there. I have my cummerbund on, nice and strong. I can feel this through the outside of my hips. Then we're going to just take your shoulder a little forward towards your wrist. You're going to notice what that feels like. You might go a little bit further with your shoulder. It's really slow. And then back off. Try 4 more. Just loading the shoulders a little more, a little more, a little more. Everybody has a place of stop, of challenge. If you want a lot more challenge, you're going to take your feet out wide. So it's like a wide leg plank. Same idea, loading the shoulders, coming forward, maybe onto your pinky toes and sliding back. It's better to have a pike than a sag. So even as your shoulders come forward over your wrist, see how I have a little pike? This is much better than the sag. We're not sagging, resisting. Okay, when you're tired, it's self-care that you take a break. So maybe you do 3 or 4 more, maybe you rest. You can come down to your knees. When you need a break, you can sit back on your heels if that works for your knees, or you can go to child's pose or roll on your back. And we'll just take the next 10 seconds to either keep up that challenge, shake wrists out and rest, or sit and breathe. And then when you take 2 more exhales, we're all going to figure out how to come on up to standing. So you have your own way to come on up to standing. Come on up. Find your standing meditation. Reconnecting feet into the floor, feet to legs, legs up into this lower center of gravity, cummerbund area. Be relaxing a little bit across your front pecs and shoulders, neck, jaw, eyes. 3 breaths. And then finding a place on your mat where you can step your left foot back into warrior 1. So right foot's going to stay right where it is. We're going to, again, load this side. So down's going to create lift through the left leg. You're going to step your left leg back and bring your heel down, okay? So the heel comes down behind you. It can be a little more open. It doesn't have to face forward like this. That's going to be a little too tight for most of our hips. It might give us a little tweak in the low back. So the left leg behind you can be a little more open. Right leg out in front. Hips at an angle for most of us, okay? Hips and belly can be at an angle. See if you can just start with the awareness of what you can't see, your left pinky toe. You can't see it. Try not to look down. Just feel your left pinky toe anchor down. As you feel that left pinky toe behind you anchor down, letting your right knee bend a little bit. And then straighten. Next time your right knee's bent, we're going to pause. Great, we're going to let your arms hang. Remember, pelvis is still at a little bit of an angle with your belly, arms hang. Then we're going to take your left rib cage and spin it around a little bit. So the rib cage can come around separate from the hip. So your hip can stay, get a little bit of spin in the rib. And check in. We're going slow on purpose for understanding. What do you feel in your low back? Want to be really careful because we want really wide, spacious backs, okay? Then the arms are going to hang. And take your arms out and up. You're going to find your eagle arms with your left arm on top. You're going to come here. Pause, knit the ribs, find that abdominal rib connection. Maybe stretch through the pecs and the shoulders by lifting your elbows up. Your own variation, whatever it is. 2 breaths. Next exhale, lift your left back heel. Knee spins in. Arms lift. Good. Take your hands down to your hips. Tip over to your projected lunge. Remember, projected lunge, the shoulders come forward a little bit, but we resist gravity with the spine. And we come back up to high lunge. We tip. One more time. We come up to high lunge. We tip and we hold that projected lunge. We're going to take 3 breaths right here. You feel the strength in that right hip. Feel how strong you are down in that right hip. Take one more exhale. Come back on up with your chest. Arms lift, ribs knit. Keep the back nice and strong and long and step both feet together. 3 breaths. Anchoring, grounding, stabilizing through the left side. Right heel lifts. Step the right foot back into that warrior one. Without looking back at your right pinky toe, can you feel your right pinky toe anchor? Most likely your pelvis is a little bit with your belly button at an angle. Left knee bends and straightens just 1 time. Knee going over your middle toe. Right ribs can spin around a little bit. So your shoulders can look a little more forward and your pelvis can be a little bit at an angle. Check in though. What's that feel like in your low back? Try not to push the ribs forward. Whew, nice and anchored. Eagle arms, right arm over the top this time. Take a couple breaths, 3 breaths right here. Noticing, feeling your breath experience. What's it feel like to breathe in your body? Next exhale, let the arms go, take them up, lift your back heels, spin it around, high lunge. Bring your hands either to your hips, maybe fingertips together 3 times. Stabilize. Really strong through this left hip. Maybe finding a little more length, strengthen that back right hamstring. Tipping. Resisting gravity with your core spine. Hold your projected lunge, 3 breaths. Feeling, noticing, feel your strength here. Upper back strength, cummerbund strength, hip strength. Come all the way on up, lift the arms. Lift up through the back of the ribs and step both feet together. 3 breaths. With your next exhale, arms flow out to come up. Inhale, fold forward, resist gravity, bend your knees as much as you need. Exhale, lift your chest. Inhale, fold, exhale. When you're ready, step back, build downward facing dog. Okay, big fork in the road. Maybe you come down to tabletop. Maybe you bring your shoulders over your wrists. Maybe you walk your feet together. Maybe you take them wide, finding straight arm plank. If straight arm plank is too much for you, it doesn't mean that you're not good at class. It means you're tired. It means you need a break. You're going to come down to your knees. So either tabletop, resisting gravity, or plank resisting gravity, 30 seconds. Holding, breathing, challenging, just noticing and feeling. I always say 30 seconds, and then I don't really know what 30 seconds is. So do you think that's been 30 seconds? I think it's been about 25. And now it's been 30. So then you can let go, come down to your knees, and then one more fork in the road. You might sit back and take a child's pose. You might prefer to do some slow cat-cows. Moving nice and connected with strength through your back. You might choose to do a downward facing dog. So the next 5 breaths on your own here. So child's pose, cat-cow, or downward facing dog. And then we'll exhale, come back down to tabletop, and then just one time here, if you want to do a swan or a up dog from yoga, a swan from Pilates, you're going to bring your shoulders forward over your wrists. Keep that connection nice and long through your back. So remember what it means and what it feels like to resist gravity. Try not to just drop. This isn't it. So you're resisting gravity long through your back, arm bones draw back. Chest lifts. You want more challenge, you're going to push down into the tops of your feet and lift your knees up. And then with an exhale, you can curl your toes, lift to plank, and go back to down dog. If you're done and tired, come onto your back. We're all headed in that place in about 3 breaths. So with your next exhale, if you're in that down dog, lower down. Bring your knees out in front of you. With control, roll all the way onto your back. Hands, arms can come down to your hips or your belly. Check in with yourself. How are you feeling physically? How are you feeling energetically? We take the last few moments here in silence, checking in. How can you use the next 2 minutes to really help your day along? What's the kindest, wisest way you can treat yourself for the next 2 full moments, or 2 minutes, breathing here? Just letting your breath bring you back to your experience, anchoring inward with kindness and curiosity. Just check back in. How are you feeling? Just soften through your belly, soften through your chest. 3 long exhales. If you find it helpful, drawing your knees into your chest, stretching out your low back, rocking a little bit side to side. And if you're ready, rolling over to the easiest side and slowly coming on up to sitting. I'm just noticing, feeling your experience here. If you'd like to stick around for Q&A, we'll start Q&A in about 5-10 seconds. Big, huge high fives to everyone. Thanks for coming to class. Thanks for taking care of yourselves, doing some self-care, getting stronger, feeling your bodies move.